And we are live. What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I am live for this chat that I know you guys have been waiting for. You guys have heard it has been confirmed since yesterday that Deontay Wilder and Malik Scott have parted ways. You know, it's not really a big surprise to me. A lot of people had a lot to say about Deontay and Malik Scott's primary relationship, you know, because Malik is known as the guy that allegedly took a dive for Deontay and really stayed close quarters with his particular camp for a very long time. Before we go into that, it's all about the people in the trenches. Rich, counterpunch to you. He says, I say Floyd Mayweather or Mike Tyson. We're going to talk about that. Tony Lyons, let's go. Counterpunch. Bill knows boxing in the building. How about Sugar Hill Stewart? Hard hitter puncher, Mark Breland. That's funny. Jay, he should apologize to Mark and team up with him again. I don't know if he's. I think Wilder would be too proud for that, me personally. But we're going to talk about it. Bill knows boxing. What's up, champ? Counterpunch to you. Listen, I think if anything at all, I think that Deontay Wilder needs to be Deontay Wilder. You know, Skrilla 50 in the building. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Counterpunch to you. That's that man with that wrench right there. You got to give him respect. You got to show him love. But Wilder and Malik Scott. Now, you got two questions I want to ask you guys. I'll let the chat load as it loads, as you guys come on. Who do you want to see him with? Who do you want to see Deontay train with? You know, who's the lucky person? It's too late for Wilder. Wilder only has 1, 2 left. Well, I think that's a lot of fighters. I think a lot of fighters are in that same position. They just don't know it yet, or they're just trying to cash out. You know, the older they get, they want to have a couple more fights. So, you know, fights to a boxer is some of it's reserves, some of it's are investments. Kate Scott can train Wilder better than Malik Scott or Malik Abdu. Damn. I say Deontay Wilder really surprised me over the years. I mean, he's got with Malik, and he supposedly showed all this promise. And the thing was, when he fought Tyson Fury the second time, he really didn't show any improvement. The third time, he really didn't show any improvement. And a lot of people question Malik Scott. And I think what people don't realize is that I was screaming at the whole camp, yelling at the whole camp of, hey, this is what you should do. You should lose all that weight and stop trying to rely on muscle and bronze. I mean, if you got God-gifted punching power, you don't need muscles at all. You don't need size. Alex, counterpunch to you. Once he went to Zhang's corner first, Scott was done. I think that Wilder didn't really show any improvement. He showed that, hey, what he did do for me in the third fight with Tyson is he showed that maybe they shouldn't have stopped the second fight. But you could argue if they didn't stop the second fight, there wouldn't have been a third fight, because Tyson Fury, the way Tyson Fury was banging him up, was giving him a beating. he might not have been the same fighter, because Tyson Fury was definitely uh, giving him a whooping. He was showing him like, hey, this is how you kick ass, you know. But I do question a lot of things. You know, you could blame that on Malik Scott, you know, because he's the head trainer, and I think the head trainer ultimately makes decisions like that towards. Um, Hold on a second. Okay, I am back. It says, if Sugar Hill was training Wilder, would he be better, or was Wilder simply Wilder regardless? Mm, well, I don't know. I mean, I think we would have to see another trainer train Wilder to see if he perceived to be any good. You see what I mean? See, you can throw any right hand and land any right hand. That doesn't make you better. If you're able to land a shot on a fighter that the shot is available to land, that doesn't make you a better fighter. What makes you a better fighter is what you're able to do to improve with someone that gave you difficulty or adversity. You see what I'm saying? Like, for example, Daniel Dubois. Everyone claims Daniel Dubois, it has improved so much. Oh, he's better, he's different. He may be different, but does that make him better? I mean, sure, he won't quit, but does that mean he still won't get his ass whooped? We don't know that yet. Just like Wilder. The problem with Malik Scott is Malik Scott, when he fought in the second fight and he got beat, he got stopped in round 7. Then he came back in the third fight and he got beat, but it was round 11. What did you get from Wilder that made you think that Malik Scott made him a better fighter or a better boxer? Now, one thing that I knew that stuck out, Wilder started going to Fury's body, and he started doing it in a way, you know. Do you think a coach could improve him? I'm not sure. At 40 years old, the man was born in 1985, and he's 40. And the thing is, could he improve on some stuff? I'm not really sure. I think that Wilder is better off being um, that sniper-like fighter. He's never going to be a good inside fighter. You see him fighting. His arms are too long. Anybody with arms that long and lanky and oblong like that, he ain't going to be able to throw combinations and stuff on the inside. He's not going to have that. He doesn't have that physicality. It's just not there. But if he catches you on the end of that shot, that's where he is successful, right? Mr. Wilder, he doesn't have much time, needs new best trainer. 40 and he's still young. I'm 50 and still young. Okay. Deontay had so much to say about AJ changing trainers after trainer, but here he is doing it funny, hearing the booty hole calling the kettle black, but that's a known quality of Wilder. Well, we all know that Wilder had an issue with AJ, and then in front of AJ, he tried to switch it up like he was all positive. If Wilder would have kept that same energy towards AJ during that days of reckoning when all of them were together, you had Joshua, you had Wilder, you had Parker, you had Jarrell Miller, you had Dubois, you had Hrgovic. Now, you're supposed to have Frank Sanchez, and it was somebody else that was supposed to be there but wasn't there. But you had enough people. Otto Weiland was there. you had enough people to discuss something that was said about one person, that person was there to defend themselves, if you notice. So you're looking at Wilder saying this about AJ, and then AJ didn't even respond, because I think that AJ was looking at it like, you know what? I didn't expect this, so I don't have anything to say to you. I know how he went at Jarrell Miller, but Jarrell Miller was pretty much asking for it. You know, Derrick James for Wilder. No, Derrick James would take Wilder too long to get used to. I don't think Derrick James is a good fit for Wilder, because Derrick James would teach Wilder defensively, and I think that will take too long of a span for him to really catch on defensively. He'll get a lot of hits upside the head with the mitts messing with Derrick James, because Wilder won't keep his hands up. And the thing is, who's to say that he'll keep his hands up in the fight? The other question is, Malik Scott. Was Malik Scott at fault for him losing to Zhilei Zhang? And I have to say no, because Malik Scott told him, he went on record saying, look, we went over that 1-2 so many times with Wilder. I don't know what else I could have told you. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why they fell out, is because of things like that. If a trainer tells a fighter, and he keeps telling a fighter, and he instills it in him, he drills it in him, he wants him to learn, keep your guard up, please. Keep that guard up. If you don't, you're going to get chinned. You know, so when he went for that right, then he didn't have his guard up. He got caught with that shot. And because he got caught with that shot, he was knocked out. Zhang was not playing. Zhang is not that dude to play with. He's 300 pounds. He's a 300-pound, 6'6" Chinaman, and he's ready to take your head off. Do you think he's playing about that power? It's sad to see an overhyped former heavyweight still in delusion. Every loss was a conspiracy against him. Every failed matchup was the other fighter's fault. Fraud is the right word. Well, I think what it was, I think people made it easy for Wilder. You know, they made it easy, because that wasn't just Wilder doing that. Those were those fans that were doing that for Wilder. Wilder had so much help, and he had so much compromise with the idea of being wronged, that it wasn't really hard for him to jump on the bandwagon, because he had so many people thinking that he was cheated, so many people making excuses, making controversy, and making false narratives, and, you know, giving him ways out of a defeat. So it's hard to own. It's hard to own something rightfully outright when you have people that are your fans that make so many excuses for you. What the fans were doing for Wilder, they were enabling him. Rest in peace, Sewer King's YouTube channel. Who is Sewer King? I don't know who that is. So they made it easy for Wilder. When Wilder got his ass whooped, they made so many excuses and so many avenues to escape the reality of Wilder just getting beat, to the point he never thought that he got beat. You got to think about it. If everyone that follows you is given or claiming to have evidence that, hey, you were cheated, you were wronged, hey, your trainer was against you, the referee was against you, the sanctioning bodies were against you, we found out lies about you, we knew Mauricio was lying, and Mauricio really was a crook. He was a crook because he's all about money. But little small things like that were put and stitched together to make it seem like Wilder was cheated. It was something really bad at that night, and it was all for Wilder to lose. Even the fact that the fight got called off early, that was Mark Breland's fault. Where Mark was like, nah, man, look at your ear, bro. Your ear's bleeding. Your equilibrium's off. You're falling all over the place. Maybe the second knockdown wasn't even because you got hurt. It was because your equilibrium is off and you can't throw if you don't have balance. So I'm going to stop the fight because your eardrum's busted. So that's that. He called that a fraud. He called that a reason. So if anybody that was looking for excuses, that was the excuse year of the century, 2020, the year of the COVID-19 coronavirus, the year of the excuses, the virus of excuse. People had, and we didn't even really see any really big fights then. We seen Dillian White get knocked out. We saw Lomachenko got beat by Teofimo. Okay, he got beat by Teo. That fight happened. Well, who else fought that time? Usyk fought Chisora. I mean, we saw some fights. I mean, but Wilder didn't fight. We didn't hear anything from Wilder. The autopsy, that was dumb. Showed us that he had a dent in his head. The autopsy. Why would you even be dumb enough to even repeat that? That was crazy. Those were the days, though. I mean, those were the days of making something out of nothing. If you tried to really just speak the facts. I didn't think it was that serious until Boxing Ego and Aki and Boxing Ego. They all tried to shut my channel down. Every last one of them. They all went to YouTube on my channel, about my channel, and tried to shut it down. And the crazy thing was, I'm like, I have never heard anything from you guys until I started saying something contrary to what you guys were saying. Then all of a sudden, everything that I was doing was illegal. Everything that I was doing was against the rules, against the guidelines, against this, against that. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, wow. I didn't know it was that serious. And I was upset because you think about it. This was COVID. So all we had was what we were accustomed to doing. And if you couldn't do what you were accustomed to doing, you might have lost your mind. So now you had these guys messing with me. All of them had all these high-end subscribers or whatever. Boxing Ego got 300,000 in growing or whatever. Boxing Ego, Deontay the same. Aki, he came up because of the glove stuff. Good for him. It was crazy. Salute Kurt. Remember I brought up Wilder Malik split 3 or 4 weeks ago when no one was talking about it, but it seems Wilder benefited from it already. His balance and left hook really looks better. I guess. It's good to hit mitts, but it's another thing to land it in a fight. I want to see him landed in a fight, but shout out to you. I do remember that. What round does Herndon KO Wilder? I hope he doesn't KO Wilder, but we'll see. If Wilder does something dumb or careless, should I say, he's finished. He looks good in training, then the real fight starts. He gets hit and freezes. Same old, same old. Well, you could say that about a lot of people. Hold on a second. Okay, Mama Lou, counterpunch to you. That baby told us that Wilder will win by second KO. Yeah, she did, didn't she? He looks good in training. Then the real fight, he starts. Let me look at some stuff on Wilder real quick. Let's look at because I seen. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, we see Jay Deas.
While Deontay's working out, if you're on the ring, camera or whatever you've got, face toward him and not like looking out at the crowd or whatever. I don't want him turning an ankle on your foot, except that when he comes your way, just be cognizant of the fact that that's easy to get back here, especially if he follows you. So that's all I'm throwing him out.
You guys think Wilder still looks too thin?
Here's what the IRS doesn't want you to know. There's this secret marketplace that helps people get 20.
Now you see how he's throwing the combinations back? He's throwing them at a distance. That's where he needs to be. And he can throw them from there because he's fast enough to throw them from there. He fights tomorrow, so we should see his weigh-in today. Yeah. So his weigh-in's in an hour. No, correction. If it's 5 p.m., wait, specific. Oh. He probably put on more muscle.
Hey, don't hurt him before the fight now. Don't hurt him before the fight now.
Who's the little girl? The weight scales tricked me. so you're about to see some glove. I mean, so far, he's throwing the combinations. He's digging in. Google doesn't know who Herndon is. I like how he's keeping his hand up. He's jabbing. He's jabbing. He's hooking off the jab. This guy's hooking off the jab. He's looking actually good. Jab. You see, he's keeping that hand up. Now, I think they need to work off his hook when he jabs because he's slapping. That's not how you throw. That's not how you hook off the jab. Jab and you turn into it. That's how you turn into it. He's slapping. That's an arm shot. That's that Adrian Broner shit he's doing. I mean, the crew that he has, those guys are familiar, So I guess he just decided, hey, I'm going to stay with Jay Deas, get rid of Malik Scott, and keep my strength and conditioning because those guys are there. Maybe he's just trying to hey, I don't need a maybe I don't need to be paying Malik Scott what I feel he's not worth any longer, Good right hook to the right uppercut to the body. Looks like he still got the right hand, man. And see, the thing is, I don't even think it's the power. I just think, he was in there with guys that know how to defend against that shit. And Jazili Zhang is just kind of a freak of nature. He just wasn't going down over that right hand based on someone that probably didn't properly train. Right hook, right cross, left hook, right cross. Well, I'll say this, people. He didn't look bad. Some critiquing from what I saw. They need to see one thing about a trainer. they don't have the time with Wilder to teach Wilder or to reteach Wilder what he needs to learn. And it's fundamentals. But then it's like, would fundamentals really help Wilder at this stage of his career, though? You know what I mean? Would him learning how to hook off the jab, you know, would that make him a better fighter, especially when he's a one-handed fighter anyway? The other shots, the jab, the left hook, followed with the right hand. The right hand is the money shot. I think it's called keep it simple, stupid. You know, when you're dealing with someone like Wilder, you know, he needs to learn how to use the right hand because that's the punch that got him as far as it got him. You know, it got him all the way up to the Tyson Fury fights, and we all know what happened in that saga where they fought 3 times. You know, 5 knockdowns for Tyson Fury, 1 stoppage, 1 knockout, 4 knockdowns for Wilder, 1 possible knockout, and 3 other knockdowns. And, you know, I don't think making Wilder better at this point would help Wilder be successful because they don't have the time. They just have to accept who Wilder is, you know. And Malik Scott was saying to himself, like, look, we went over that. He's just not going to be as good as you want him to be. You know, he didn't do what we instructed him to do so many times. Therefore, if you really think about it, there's nothing you can really do for a fighter if the fighter doesn't do what you've trained him to do. That's just common sense. What is a good performance? 1 punch KO or a few good rounds? Well, good performance don't mean the Helenius was a good performance. See, that's a knockout, but that don't mean he did good. There wasn't enough that we saw. That was the last win of Wilder's career was in 2021? Or was it 22? 22. Then he didn't fight until the end of 23, messing around with Andy Ruiz and Wilder. And which one are you going to believe? Andy Ruiz or Deontay Wilder? Deontay Wilder, Andy Ruiz. They're both full of shit when it comes to negotiations. They both show their ass when they think they're better than they really are. And they feel that they're more of something than they really are more of. You're going to get those issues, and you got the worst of each world coming together. Therefore, we didn't see what Wilder could do until he got in there with Joseph Parker, a guy that even Dubois didn't want to fight at that time. Think about it. And then Wilder fought him and lost damn near every round. I don't even think Wilder won a round. So what does that mean? Wilder switched his S's. He kept it stupid, simple. Nah, Jay Deas is the tax collector, auditor masquerading as a boxing coach. Yep. One thing we saw, Jay Deas is still there, people. So we still got Jay Deas. We still have the rest of that crew. You're just minusing Malik Scott. Malik Scott, from what I known him to be, I don't think that Malik Scott was a bad trainer. I don't think he was a bad trainer at all. I just think that Wilder wasn't a very good student. He didn't listen, and he couldn't listen under pressure. That's what I think. I think he just didn't or couldn't follow instructions under pressure. Well, here's the deal. You could say the same thing about Joshua. You see what I'm saying? Like, Joshua didn't really pay attention to what he really supposed to do. Usyk leaves his friend. Scott got fired so Wilder could pretend Scott is the problem. Well, he didn't ever say it was the problem, and I'm not going to say that he said he was the problem unless he says he was the problem. You see what I mean? So I'm not going to say that right now. One thing I can say is if Wilder is not blaming his trainer for his losses and he's blaming his injuries or, other issues besides his trainer, you can say, to say the least about Wilder is at least he's learning. He's learning. He's maturing. You can say that because we've heard excuses after excuses. We're probably going to hear more and more, but I mean, let's just face it. Anything that Wilder says that just doesn't look like, hey, Anything else he says besides himself blaming himself is going to look like an excuse based on all the excuses that he's already said and brought up over the years. So he can never get out of that reputation for being an excuse maker unless he says, hey, he was the better man tonight. He was better than me. He caught me with a good shot. No excuses. The end. If it's anything else, yeah, you're going to look at him like that. Period. He fired him, though, so we can have a fair idea. Yeah. But he fired Mark Breland, too. But then he said Mark Breland was the problem. Or was one of the problems, right? So it is what it is with Deontay Wilder. And he fired Malik. I mean, he fired Breland because Breland stopped the fight. That's why he fired him. That's what he explained on why he got rid of Malik Scott, because he told anybody and everybody in his camp, hey, if you stop my fights, I'm going to fire you. So I want to go out on my shield. If he's going to knock me out or if he's either going to kill me, I want that to be that. I don't want you to stop it worrying about my health. I don't want that. I don't care what you feel inside. I don't care how you think. This is my command, and that's what happened. That's the truth. Now, did he add all that other stuff on? Probably so. So it will be a 1-round KO or be stopped. You know, and guess what? Everybody will say, Wilder's back. That don't mean he's back. Because we've already seen him with top tier opposition. And we can't say he's back. I will be happy when he did, you know. Cool breezy. Hope you're well, Kurt. A bit of random question. How many push-ups can you do comfortably in one set? Probably about 50. About 50. No matter what Apollo Creed as he got nuked by Drago. Yeah. You ain't stopping nothing, and that was killed him. So maybe Wilder got spared, but we'll never know, fortunately, because Mark Breland did the right thing. Mark Breland did something that was supposed to happen. Sometimes you get mad at a fighter or a trainer for doing certain things, but you don't know if that fighter or trainer would have done those things, what would have been the end result. The end result would have been something that we probably would have still been talking about to this day. If Tyson Fury, the way he was beating up on Wilder, and Wilder was hitting him, and it wasn't even phasing Fury. He wasn't even phasing Fury with his shit. So Fury was beating up Wilder, and he was bleeding out the eyes, he was bleeding out the ears, he was bleeding out the mouth, he was bleeding out the nose. This man was starting to bleed everywhere. And if it would have went in the 8th round, the 9th round, the 10th round, the 11th round, the 12th, yeah, he probably would have killed Wilder, because Wilder was dumb enough to still think that he had a shot when he landed his shot. Instead of understanding, yo, I'm getting beat, I'm getting damaged beyond control and possibly beyond repair. Somebody save me. Maybe some people don't have that mechanism. I know Danny Dubois does. Danny Dubois will take a fucking squat quick when he thinks he's in trouble. Bow! Oh, my. I can't see my eye. Yeah. But Wilder probably don't have that, bro. We seen Wilder and his, and look, okay, when Zhang hit him twice, bow, then bow. When he hit him twice, and you look at that type of, knockdown. Yeah, he hit his head. Zhang would have probably brutally knocked out Wilder. If they would have let that, because Wilder was up, yeah, they would have let that fight go on. Zhang would have destroyed Wilder. He would have knocked Wilder out, because Wilder probably, he didn't know where he was. And that's another reason why I do fault Malik Scott for that bitch shit he did. And I'm going to tell you why. Your fighter, you didn't know the condition of your fighter yet. So why the hell would you run over there with Sean George and Zilly Zhang and run over there and hug them and congratulate them before checking on the safety of your own fucking fighter? Yeah, that bothers me. That does bother me. Because it showed me like you have more respect for your opposition than you do the fighter that's paying for you, that trusts you to protect him and instruct him. That's the problem I got with Malik Scott. When he did that, that was grounds for termination. And if that would have happened right after that, I would have understood that. But what did we have right after that? That Telly Swift shit. That Telly Swift shit. Oh, I'm putting a restraining order against a guy that just got brutally knocked out, a guy that I said that I was in love with, a guy that I got a child with, and I'm putting a restraining order on him based on what I think he may do. So let me tell you everything he did in the last 3 years. Who the fuck does that? Fiance. No, bro. Fiance means somebody you're about to marry. That doesn't mean that's your wife. For him, fortunately. Some boxers need protected from themselves. Correct. Besides taking psychedelic drugs, Malik Scott is the worst thing that happened to Wilder. Well, here's the thing. How so? He taught him how to throw combinations instead of the jab right hand or the jab right hand. How did Malik Scott make Wilder a bad fighter? That's what I want to know. Malik Scott was teaching Wilder that spin move in training. No, he was not. He did not teach him that shit in training. He was with someone else when he did that. He wasn't with Malik Scott. Malik didn't teach him that. Some shit Wilder thought was cool. He does that and kind of spins around and does a little dance, which he needs to stop that shit. That's not boxing. That's dancing. This ain't twerking and twirling. This is fighting. And fighting. Lomachenko Sr. is free now. No. For one, you got a language barrier. For two, no, that's not going to work. Wilder fell in love with the yes men. That's the problem. I could buy that. I mean, they didn't really teach him anything, and I thought Malik Scott was going to come around and really help him. But the thing is, I don't want people to think that Malik Scott was the worst thing. Now, you're mindful and you can think of what you want to think, but at the same time, I don't really think Malik Scott was that bad of a trainer. He might have been too supportive instead of being more critiquing, because sometimes, you have to worry about what's coming back. It ain't got to be all about what you can give and what you can do to a fighter. Julian Jackson, it could be what that fighter can do back to you. And I think that you should respect your fighter to also be able to hurt you as well as you hurt them. Nobody talking about Herndon because there is nothing online other than the Richard Torres fight. Sad, and I know he got starched by Richard Torres. And that's crazy. You got beat up by Richard Torres. Torres is an up-and-coming fighter. So this is a tune-up fight for Wilder. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, a tune-up fight for Wilder. You split with your trainer. You still got Jay Deas, though. And I'm trying to figure out how the hell that makes sense. How you get rid of Malik Scott and you still got Jay Deas. No disrespect to Jay Deas. I think he's a cool person personally. But professionally, he may just kind of be a cheerleader-like guy that don't really know too much. And I think he's not... And I'm not getting mad at Jay Deas, because I think Jay Deas is a guy that knows his own limitations. That's why he brought Mark Breland in. See, what people don't understand about Jay Deas is that PE coach. He was more like a mentor versus a coach. That's why he brought Mark Breland in. That's why he is a manager / trainer. Yeah, he helps Wilder when he needs to help Wilder, but he can't help Wilder on things he doesn't know about. He's not a boxing trainer. He is a manager / mentor. He was one of those guys that been with Deontay Wilder since day one. And guess what? He is white. So all you guys is thinking all that black on black shit. No. He loved him like a mentor, like an uncle or something like that. He's very close to Jay Deas. In fact, who's outlasted everybody? Jay Deas. Yeah, the white guy. Yeah, the white guy outlasted everybody. Think about that one. So before people want to go that pro-black shit with Wilder, understand Wilder didn't see color when it came to love for someone else. It didn't have anything to do with JD's skin. He loved JD's because JD's was there for him. JD's you never seen JD's pretend like he was this good coach. No, he never said, I'm this expert. He never said that. That's why I think people get the wrong idea about JD's. JD's is still there, though. You see what I mean? He's just not that trainer that they thought that Malik Scott or Mark Breland should be. But then even Mark Breland explained why he couldn't because of like the mentor. So it was a paradox. So you had JD's there, and then maybe you had Shelly Finkel and the powers that be. And we don't know who really the powers that be were. Who was it? Shelly Finkel? Was it Al Heyman? Was it who? Was it who's the other guy? Ludabella? Like those guys are on the office end. So who stopped Mark Breland from properly training Wilder inside the ring, inside the gym? That's the question you ask yourself. Who stopped him from training him? Because that's what Mark Breland said. That's why I don't like interviews with people that can't say and speak names, because it still puts us in a world of instigation. You know, we're speculating now. We don't know what's happening. Matisse Sports TV counterpunch to you. Exactly, Mama Lou. You have to look at it. Maybe it was Jay Deas. No, don't make him do that, man. He ain't got to go down there. He ain't got to do all that running. Hell, his legs are shot, man. He's been sparring all goddamn day. What do you want? What do you want? You want him to run on that shit? He ain't got to run. Hey, man, don't run today. Wilder, Deontay, you ain't got to run today, man. Don't worry about it. No. Don't worry about it. Scott was a hype man and still got fired. Damn. He was a hype man before he got the job, and he got fired. Wilder's career is a shame. All the noise with little substance. It is sad. But I do think the big fights didn't happen. The AJ fights. I mean, because the AJ had everything else. There was no other belts to get. He got it from Parker. He got it from Klitschko. He got it from Charles Martin. And then there was Wilder, right? There was no other fight to be made for AJ, because AJ had already accomplished and got the other Infinity Stones. Wilder had the last one, the WBC, right? So you'd be great in a Western movie. Thank you, man. I'm all right. Iron Sentinel. Thank you, buddy. No, seriously, though, man. Seriously. Wilder should have stayed with Breland, a real trainer with real experience. Well, I don't think, and now that we've kind of navigated through the possibilities, because I don't think there's anybody that was higher than Jay Deas, because Jay Deas was also a manager and trainer, right? Then Mark Breland was the trainer. So he was the guy that actually knew stuff. Jay Deas was the guy that hired Mark Breland because he knew stuff, but didn't mean the guy that didn't know stuff wasn't over the guy that knew stuff. So that's what it was. So I think Jay Deas, it's fair to say Jay Deas, exactly how I called it. You know, oh man, you don't got to do that today. Bro, let me tell you something, man. You're working him too hard, man. Hot damn. His legs are already little. Damn, his legs are little and some bitch, man. You gotta look here, man. He hits like a damn hand cannon. He don't need all that. What do you need the leg work for? He got the arm power. I can see Jay Deas, bro. Kurt, if Wilder loses, should they take down his statue? Nah, man, don't do that. They shouldn't take down his statue, because you can't take away from the 5 years that he was champion. Nah, I wouldn't do that. bro. I mean, but listen, I mean that you think about being a fly on the wall, hearing that type of shit, hearing the conflict, because that's what Mark Breland was saying. Mark Breland was, I just think every time I try to get him to do something, they didn't want me to help. They didn't want me to push it. And that was Jay Deas. Jay Deas was like, look, this is that damn, man. What you want? Wait a minute. You want him to go outside and run too? Hell, it's 92 degrees out there now. It's past 2:00. That shit you're going to burn. You're in the South. Hell, this ain't Michigan. Hell, this ain't Big Bear. Shit, what are you doing? Hell no. Well, Deontay, you ain't got to do that shit. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't worry about it. Don't. Just hit the showers. We're good today. We're good. Mark, we're good. We're good. Yo, brother, I'm in the building. I'm just 50 minutes late. What you want from me? Yo, brother, I'm in the building. I'm just 50 minutes late. What you want from me? Yeah, man, really. Wilder team knew Wilder's limitations is why they protected him for so long. Vladimir's proof Fury was a cherry picked. Well, I think they didn't want that. Shelley didn't want that. Like, there's so many things that we already know about Wilder. I think, we can talk about Vlad and Wilder, yeah, whatever. But one thing about that, hell yeah, he got married, Jay. You didn't know that? He got married to Malik Scott. He got married to Kate Abdu. That was on PBC. Now is a commentator on DAZN. She pulled a Sean Porter. Remember Sean Porter? You used to be, hey, how you doing? This is PBC, Showtime, Fox. This is Showtime, Sean Porter. That dude went from PBC to DAZN quick. I'm like, how you get a job from PBC to DAZN? That could have been me or Showbiz's slot. I mean, you brought your ass in and took our stuff. Because we were all pro DAZN when DAZN came out. Imagine that. So Wilder is an example of how to mismanage your career. He should have crashed out with the AJ for Undisputed. Well, here's the irony in that. They offered him more money in 19. He didn't take it. But if Wilder would have played ball, let's say Wilder would have said, okay, I believe I can beat AJ, so give me the $15 million. And then they fought. And then whoever fought, they probably would have had a rematch. And then he probably would have ended up getting, if he would have beat AJ, he would have got more. But even then, because it would have been an undisputed fight, right? So he would have got about $30 million, $35 million, maybe even $50 million, like for the bulk of the two fights with AJ. If this would have happened in 18, probably spewed into 19, right? Because AJ wouldn't have fought all those guys. So Wilder ended up fighting who? Fury, then Brazil, then Ortiz again, then Fury again, then Fury again. And I think in 2020 and 21, he actually made the money that he would have made fighting AJ in 18, not 19. I'm not talking about the DAZN deal because we all know that was $100 million. He wasn't going to make more than that. But I'm talking about if he decided to say, you know what, I'm going to fight AJ for this $15 million or this 12.5 and then fight him again for another $15 million or whatever, 12.5, he would have made about the same amount of money, to be fair. So Wilder's career, you look at it, he didn't fight AJ when he could have, but then when it was maximized, when he did get the draw with Tyson Fury, and they did know the power was real, that still made him still dangerous. And when they offered him that money, he didn't take it. But since he didn't take it, he went on to fight Fury in the second fight. And because of the pay-per-views and the third fight he probably made about $30 million. So he made some money fighting. His legacy was Tyson Fury instead of Anthony Joshua. Even though fighting AJ would have made him more money, he still made money fighting Tyson Fury. So it actually matched up him if he would have fought him in 2018. A lot of people don't understand that because those negotiations started late 17. When AJ knocked out Takam, because Takam was a replacement for Kubrat Pulev, those negotiations started. They started way back then. And then in 2018, when that started, that's when all the buzz began. All the complications and all the back and forth and all the confusion and all that stuff. Like, hey, he's scared. He don't want to fight me, all that stuff. All that started then. Okay. Usyk took less versus Fury to make more in the rematch. Wilder didn't have the confidence to do that versus AJ. No, but I think what it was, Wilder wasn't prompted to fight AJ because AJ beat the guy that Shelly Finkel managed, that he kept purposely, Vladimir Klitschko, away from Wilder because he knew, I'm not going to put Wilder in there with Vlad, because if Vlad flattens Wilder, where does Wilder's career go? It will go like all those other guys' career went. Think about it. Who did Vladimir Klitschko beat? Brian Jennings. Vitali beat, what's his name? Chris Arreola. Look where his career went. Down the shits. Down the toilet. So a lot of those guys, Shelly Finkel, which it wasn't a bad decision. I'm not saying it was, because he wanted to build Wilder. He wanted Wilder to become bigger than Wilder was. And he thought that, hey, with strategic navigation, I can make Wilder bigger. But as long as Vlad is around, I can't, because I don't have the faith in my baby champion and a guy that we really know he doesn't have the skills like Vlad on top of the knockouts. He has power, but that's it. He has this raw power that he probably don't know what to do with. But with the right matchmaking, we can make him a star. But what happened was Wilder pretty much made himself a star by doing self-promoting, trash-talking AJ. He talked off AJ's name. AJ was the star. He was the golden Olympian. Fury was still getting high, slamming broads and being fat. That's what he was doing when he was trying to be coached by Ben Davison, which did a terrific job from whipping his butt back into shape to get back into the game, but he wasn't in the game at the time. So meanwhile, Wilder was talking trash. Wilder was saying, I want Joshua. And you can't say he didn't want Joshua. He just didn't know that it wasn't in his plans to fight Joshua because they didn't want him to. You see what I mean? Like one hand wasn't telling the other hand what was going on type shit. That's what they were doing. Shelly Finkel knew, I'm not going to ever put him in there yet with AJ until I know. Well, the thing that helped them, Jarrell Miller, popped dirty. Then came Andy. And Andy shocked the world by beating AJ. But dumbfounded Wilder didn't have enough sense to know, damn, I lost my $100 million. What the fuck am I going to do now? No, he was happy about it because he hated the idea of AJ having success and being that successful and making that type of money, unlike him, which he should have looked at his team. And if he would have really looked at his team, he could have understood that, hey, my team is the issue. My team is the problem. They were the ones that should have got me this fight, those fights with AJ. I should have took the $100 million. We should have all moved to the zone. Al Heyman would have got his cut. Just Al Heyman was a powerhouse junkie. He does not like the idea of dealing with people, especially when he can't control the outcome or the pay-per-view splits, or he's not pulling the strings. Al Heyman don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't give a shit how much money's at stake. He don't care. He wants everything his way. That's how that is. Cubby Barnes, do you really think Wilder turned down $100 million to fight AJ? I just can see in a world you turn down that kind of bread for one fight. It wasn't for one fight, Cubby Barnes. It was Wilder became a free agent. When he became a free agent, that's when the opportunity presented itself to go to the zone. They sat down with John Skipper, which was ahead of the zone at the time in America. They had a structure. You fight Dominic Brazil for $20 million. He fought Dominic Brazil for $10 million on PBC, but he wasn't re-signed with PBC yet. So they're going to offer him on the zone platform $20 million. Then $40 million to fight AJ, then another $40 million to fight AJ in the rematch if he loses or wins. Now, there was a thing, it was supposed to be a fourth fight, but I'm not sure about the fourth fight. But it was definitely 3 fights. Dominic Breazeale was the mandatory that Mauricio Suleiman stuck in front of Dillian White. Then came the 2 Joshua fights. Those were 20, 40, 40, $100 million. He was going to get in 3 fights, not 1 fight. That's too much money for 1 fight for one. No, he wasn't that big yet. Understand that. But they offered him that money because he fought the lineal guy, Tyson Fury. That was undefeated, and they were still both undefeated. Everybody was undefeated. So it was a bunch of undefeated guys that were all proclaiming to be champions. This shit was so much like Game of Thrones, it was unreal. If you guys watched Game of Thrones, it was just like Game of Thrones, but it was in the boxing world, and I loved it. So you seen and you witnessed and you saw what Wilder proclaimed, what AJ did or didn't do, what Tyson said he was. So it was a lot of things, bro. That's it. So no, they talked him out of the money. This is what was supposedly said to Wilder when introduced the $100 million. Al Heyman supposed to said, that's Mayweather's training camp money. And he said that because Al Heyman's smart. Al Heyman knows Wilder does not like Mayweather. He's went on record. He does not care for Mayweather. He doesn't like Floyd. Money Mayweather. He doesn't like him. So when Al Heyman said, yeah, that's Floyd Mayweather. That's Floyd Mayweather training money. Don't take that. So that already turned Wilder off. So, I don't think it took much to convince him. And then follows Shelly Finkel. Well, how much will Anthony Joshua make from this whole ordeal and from this whole structured situation? We have to see how much the split will be. That's what happened. That's what Shelly said he told John Skipper. So they spoke for Wilder. And Wilder we don't know how Wilder really felt about the deal because he was never presented the deal by himself. He was presented the deal in front of everybody that influenced him. You guys have to understand that. So he didn't really have his own sober individual mind to decide what he wanted to do. He didn't have that shit. He had Al Heyman, mastermind, Shelly Finkel, the brain. And then you had Luda Bella sitting around looking at those two like, what the fuck are y'all doing? It's $100 million. Are you crazy? And then he quit. That's what happened. That is what happened in that situation. Luda Bella, the promoter of Wilder at the time, got that deal together, got the set down, got the meeting structured, and got all those guys in the same building. Fook Noose in the building. What's up, fight fans? What's up, Fook Noose in the building? That's what happened. Wilder should have fought White. It would have been a good comparison where Wilder is to AJ. Well, he wasn't going to do that because Wilder already thought of himself as a king. Kings chase kings. Remember that? I don't chase the peasants. Kings chase kings. Right? Yeah, and the brain and the mastermind together, they talked Wilder out of that $100 million because they thought, well, hey, Wilder, think about it. If he's asking for this type of money, wait, what happens when you knock out Tyson Fury again? Yeah. Shit, man. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. So, yeah, they talked Wilder out of it. Hell, what I wanted to know was, what did his baby mama or girlfriend, Telly Swift, think? I bet you Telly Swift, why you turn down that money? Deontay, you got to be crazy. Deontay. Or maybe not. Because, see, what happens with greed? Greed doesn't necessarily give you the right decision. Greed actually puts you in a situation where you end up with nothing because you're so damn greedy because it's a spirit. It's not it's not a superpower. Greed is just greed. Greed means you just want more and more and more. And because you want more and more and more, you can miss out on the things that you were blessed upon or that was actually for you. And the $100 million was offered to Wilder. That's what he was worth. And since they thought, well, hey, if they're offering him this type of money, we can get more. Imagine Jay Deas. Hell yeah, man, we can get more, 100 million. That's what they wanted. They want hell 100 million, man. Get us about 300 million, man. We're all be rich around here. Got all kind of houses all together, man. And that damn dogs breeding with each other and all that. We'd be breeding dogs together. That type of shit. Wilder's girl must have been trying to get Wilder to take the 100 million. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I never knew and I never heard her take on it, but she was around at that time because they had a baby. Their baby was young at that time. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that baby was an infant. That baby was an infant at the time. Let's hope something exciting happens in boxing soon. Been a bit of a snooze fest recently. So little going on. I'm looking forward to that crappy Jake Paul fight, for fuck's sake. Well, you know what? I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch that fight because I understand I did my slew of videos that are not out yet. They come out tomorrow before the fight. Or I'm probably going to post them tonight because I want my notifications to be all for the Wilder fight. You know what I mean? Because you can't do too many notifications now because I don't know if you guys know, YouTube limits the amount of notifications it sends you guys now. So you remember all those videos I used to do and you guys used to actually get them? You don't get them now. That's why you have some 7,000 and 8,000 views and 200 views and 100 views. You're like, what the hell is that about? That doesn't reflect the subscribers. You guys, they're saying you don't matter because they're not sending you notifications, which sucks, I know, but they're doing it more than likely because of shorts, because of how shorts are structured. But I'm going to leave my notifications open for the live tomorrow. So I will be going live tomorrow for Deontay Wilder versus Herndon. Cool Breezy. Hey, Kurt, do Japanese fighters lack defense or is it that BS? That's BS. That's BS. It is. You know, I don't think that's a geographic thing. I think that's bullshit. You know, stereotypical bullshit. When is the press conference? That's a good idea. I don't think they have a press conference, bro. D on. I don't know. Yeah, I'll be watching your views, and they're very strange. Yeah, they're weird, bro. They don't. Well, I had to look this up because I had meetings with YouTube. I've had, sessions with them, and they're like, oh, well, out of the 90,000, 14,000 has all their notifications open. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if 14.5% of 92,000 people have their notifications on, that means you guys are really not doing your job. That's all that means. That means you're not sending out notifications. So then what I did was I Googled, well, hey, notifications are not being sent. And then that's when that's when the Google, because Google owns YouTube. And they were like, yeah, we're doing a experimental thing where we're not sending out notifications for all the videos. Which, whatever. They said anything about who is going to be Wilder's trainer. No, I think they're going to be the same guys, just minus Malik Scott. I didn't get a notification for this live. I'm only here because I check in every hour. I'm like diehard counterpunch boxing fan. See, if everybody did that, that would be different. But since that's not the case, you have to actually get notifications to know what's going on YouTube. That's only common courtesy for the server or the platform that you're supposed to own, which I don't get that. How does the Zone get away with charging a pay-per-view for Moses versus White? The same way they get from charging Canelo. Canelo ain't nobody different than anybody else, and it shouldn't be on the Zone, especially when the Zone's supposed to be a platform that is supposed to be pay-per-view free, and it was supposed to be a monthly subscription. But that's not the case. So the Zone put their foot in their mouth because they thought that they were going to be the ones that pulled the Netflix of the movie or show world and put Blockbuster like pay-per-view out of business. Says Blockbuster ran out of business because Blockbuster decided we're not going to do anything different. And guess what? We've paid the price. There's only one Blockbuster still alive to this day, and that shit's in Oregon. I don't even know the city, but it's there. It's the only last remaining surviving Blockbuster. And I don't know how the hell they're surviving. Maybe because they have enough people in that town to go to that store. But all the other stores crumbled, closed, failed, bankruptcy. It was terrible. That shit was, Blockbuster was the biggest store, movie store there was. In America, I know. So it's different. Usyk is management. It's different. Usyk is management. Wilder's is his trainer. Quan Big Guns in the building. Counterpunch to you. Why doesn't Wilder get James Ali Bashir? Bashir should be training in the U.S., not Ukraine. I mean, for whatever reason, James Al Bashir likes fighting. He likes training Ukrainians. You know? So there you go. Oh, let me do this because I did have let's see, yeah.
Yeah, I asked James Bashir if he had contacted Usyk through email or call, and he said no, he didn't. He said he felt like he would just have to prove himself, and he said he wants to really show that he's better than, I guess, that Usyk thought he was by training Vlad Starenko. He said that's, I guess, his comeback at Usyk. And I said, well, you can come on the show if you want to talk about it. He said, nah, I don't really want to talk about publicly spilled milk. He said, F it. So when I did the video, I made sure I just worded the things like that he had already said publicly, so he wouldn't feel like I was betraying his trust. You know, he was pretty sensitive about that topic, I think.
Well, that was my man Jay Roos, and that was a message from him, and I'm relaying the message. And the thing is, my question for James L. Bashir, you know, Usyk regarded James L. Bashir like a father figure. Well, later on, you know, because he was there for like 3.5 years, right? He was his trainer for 3.5 years. And out of the blue, they just got rid of him. Boom, he was done. You know, services are no longer needed. We're going in another direction. You know, sounds like Morpheus from the Matrix. That's Jay Roos from the Jay Roos theory. So, you know, hello, Morpheus. But no, I mean, I ask questions because when certain things are told to me, I mean, I don't listen to one side and only think one. He said what? She said what? No. Because it's more. It's more than just that. Like, if he looked at him as a father figure, the first thing I would have done, I would have called him, just like I told you in the live stream. I would have called Alexander and asked Alexander, like, hey, man, are you good? I thought we were okay. And then I would have left it up to the response and how Usyk handled that conversation. Because one thing about me, I'm not a very passive person when it comes to certain things. So if you tell me something, and that goes for anybody, you tell me something that you're going to do something for me, or we're going to do something together. You can't get quiet without me saying something to you. Like, I'm going to remind you. I'm going to shoulder tap you. I'm going to be like, hey, man, what's up? You know, I thought we're going to do this or what? What's going on? You know, Bun Scott, good evening, Kurt. At 40, I think Wilder has learned all he is ever going to. Probably won't matter who trains him. I wonder who Wilder will have in his corner. You are the one, Neo. But no, it was just weird to me. I think the whole thing is weird. I think you have to remember something though. James Al-Bashir was in the corner of Danny Dubois in the Usyk fight. Oh yes, he was. He was on Danny Dubois' team. Excuse me. It didn't do him any good. Usyk gets probably another 3 minutes with that 10. No, 3 million with that 10. Oh. Yeah, I'm with you, Kurt. If someone says they're going to do something with me, then I expect them to follow through. Absolutely. That chicken shit passive, like I'm on, you know what I mean? I don't say something to me and not do it. That's what made me sick of corporate America. Hell, the film industry is the same way too. You got a lot of chicken shit people that you work with. They'll tell you one thing and then, oh yeah, I'll get back with you. That's a lie. If you're going to say that, mean it. If you're going to be there, be there. Don't bullshit me, because I'll be the one to corner you and, you know, make you go, hey, oh shit, yeah. I ain't no Debo. I ain't Deboing. No, that's something that you have. I'm holding you accountable. Don't fuck around with Kurt and expect Kurt not to say nothing to you when he sees you. That's just being real, honest, transparent. Usyk retires after the triple knee fight to become a promoter. Obviously, Usyk was lying about the father figure thing. Well, here's the thing. If he said that and Bashir meant it and he believed that, if somebody said, man, you're like a father to me, and then you fire me, you think I'm not going to come to them and ask them questions? That's why when he just left me that message and said, nah, I didn't, I just think I'll get back at him. No, you took it feminine. Oh yeah, you took it feminine. You took it like a situation like, oh, okay. Oh, I see how you're going to be. That's all right. No, that's all right. I ain't going to call nobody. No, I'm going to call you because I refuse to get one perspective of something that may not be what it is. See, because if he got fired, I want to know how and who fired me. I'm going to get down to the bottom of that shit. I don't want to leave something to chance. This ain't an acting bid. This ain't a show or a part that I might have got or might didn't get, because that happens all the time in Hollywood, because Hollywood is a bunch of sleazy cocksuckers. You know, that's how they are. But in the fight game, don't be that way. And if James Al-Bashir, if I was James Al-Bashir, this is what I would have done. This is how I leave it. If I was James Al-Bashir and then I received an email, okay, first of all, did he receive emails of when he came and left the gym? Did he receive those same emails? Or was that something that passive that somebody didn't even really want to confront him with the whole idea of the reality that he's fired or he's canned or his services are no longer needed? Because if that was the case, if that's normal protocol, that's one thing. But if it's not standard protocol, I'm going to go back to, how did you guys contact me? I'm calling those numbers. I would at least call those numbers. Now, if you'd have told Jay Roos that, yeah, man, I called the numbers and this motherfucker didn't pick up, that's a whole different issue, because that means you knew that James Al-Bashir, when that news got back to him that he was fired and his services are no longer needed and there was no complaints and there was no BS or no issues that they had with him, but they fired him and then he called them and they changed the number on him. Oh, hell no. See, what I would have done is, at that point, I would have knew, okay, no, I called these motherfuckers and they didn't answer the phone. Matter of fact, they changed the number. Now, you change the number. Oh, that's a whole different type of bitch shit. But who says he did that? He didn't say he did any of that. So you can't, that could have been something like, no, it was a language issue, man. I wanted to call you. You could always say that Usyk could have called him. Now, that's true. Usyk could have called James Al-Bashir. He could have called him and said, man, I'm sorry. It's nothing against you personally. But, us as a team, we they decided and that this was best. That's different than what I was heard or what I was told versus what happened. Then James Al-Bashir said, I'm going to get you back. So you're going to be like a bitch. You're actually being like a vindictive woman. You're being feminine at that point. I'll just train somebody else and I'll get back at you. So think about it. He was on Team Daniel. I'm going to help Daniel beat Usyk because I'm still mad at Usyk because Usyk fired me way back in the back. And I don't even know if Usyk fired me because I didn't even talk to Usyk. Or did he? See, we don't know. So don't say one thing and don't tell us another. I would have got down to the bottom of it because I'm not one of those type of people that, oh man, I don't really want to talk about that. You're talking about it now. You're talking about this right now. So what are you talking about? No, I don't like that whole thing. Let's just hope that the best for Wilder and he gets back to his winning ways, but it's a big question mark on Wilder at this moment on what he has left. Thomas Verse, counterpunch. Mark Madoff return. Not sure it will add up too much. Well, yeah, I did a video on that. I seen what he said in the press conference. It was very intriguing, so stay tuned for that. So those will be out in the next couple hours because I'm dropping vids. So you guys that are here, check back with the channel, and I will have those videos on here. Exactly. The only reason people know is because he was talking about it. Yeah. You're talking about something that might not even for all we know, he might have knew that they were going to let him go. They might have told him, well, after this, we're going to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? And I'm not calling the man a liar, but what I am saying, because I don't know James Al-Bashir, but what I am saying is there's a lot of holes in certain things that should have taken place. And you should have, if someone is going to mess over you, I want to make sure that's what's happening. I want to, like Tony Lyon said, Skrilla 50 said, follow through. So if I knew like, okay, well, you know what? They just emailed me about my services are no longer needed. I can understand James was hurt on that. I would too. But then another thought is going to come into my mind. Let me call these motherfuckers. And at least let me get some closure. That ain't closure. See, the reason why that's striking a nerve is because I've been in situations where people wasn't real enough to tell you what was on their mind. Instead, they wrote it down and sent it to you. They either mailed you a letter or emailed you or text messaged you. So if they text messaged you something they should have told you face to face, those are some bitch ass people. I don't care who you are. Period. So if someone ain't even real enough, don't even respect you enough to tell you something eye to eye or even on the phone, so you can hear like, hey, man, I hate to tell you this, but I'm not going to need you no more. You know what I'm saying? That's different. That's not knowing where you really stand. It's not. You don't know anything. You don't know anything about nothing. You're just knowing what an email told you and informed you. And that's all you're going to go on versus a guy that's supposed to look like be a son to me. Oh, hell no. I'm going to call that son and we're going to get it on. We're going to talk. I will make it my business. Like, hey, what's going on with you, man? Hell, fuck it. Bring a media, bring the media with you. Because a lot of times people want to be hush hush. They're like, no, in front of camera, no. Bullshit. I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out exactly what's going on here and exactly why. If you can't tell me why, I have no respect for you whatsoever. So what James Al-Bashir went through, I hate it for him, but it had been me, I would have knew exactly what it is. So when someone asked me about what happened with you and Alexander Usyk, I would have told them, I am very filled with bullshit to the brim with fucking with those people, because those people are full of shit. That's why. That's what I'm full of. Because those people lied to me and they fired me because they either wanted to get rid of me or whatever. And they couldn't even tell me. And I know that's what he wants to be the narrative, but it's kind of hard to create a narrative like that without following through with that narrative. Now, if he called Team Usyk or the numbers that they contacted him with to tell him to come to the training camp or the facility or what hotel to go to or whatever, if he called them and wanted to get to the bottom of it because he was trying to figure out why did I lose my job over for no reason, if he didn't never call them, that's on him. Because at least I was going to know. I would have known. You were going to tell me some shit. Triple G bringing them belts home. These rumors are same type of BS, though. Like people were saying Daniel's father was going to sack the trainer if he loses to AJ. I don't know. Triple D bringing them belts back. Quan Big Guns Wilder might not be what he was, but he would hurt Allen badly. I think he wants to see that. I think I wouldn't want to see that. Allen is very likable. He should carry the momentum, keeping winning in matchups. Just makes sense. No, because Wilder didn't call out Dave Allen. Wilder ain't bullying Dave Allen. Dave Allen was asking for that fight. Yeah. See, that's what people don't understand. Look, you can't stop somebody from getting their ass whooped because they call out a fighter they have no business fighting. Regardless if you want to see it or not, it don't matter. If he's calling out, if Dave Allen wants to call out Wilder, and Dave Allen, he's saying that, hey, I want a piece of Wilder. I want to take on Wilder. Let him take on Wilder. If he gets his ass knocked out, that's it. The same as Terrence Crawford. Canelo Alvarez was not calling out Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford was calling out Canelo Alvarez. So if Terrence Crawford gets knocked out by Canelo Alvarez, it wasn't Canelo's fault. He just accepted the fight. And he got paid a shitload of money to do so. That's it. Curtis, Mark Breland's still working. I think he's working on a few people. To be fair, I don't think a lot of those guys are happy with me because, I've said some certain things about them, and I just spoke my mind. And, I think he's still doing well, though, So it is what it is. But Wilder, I look forward to his weigh-in. So it'll be at 7 p.m., I think. I don't know where the hell you'd watch it. Maybe Fight Hype or Fight Hub. If so, I will go live for it in a few hours. But we will see. I have to find out where it's at. But obviously, Mark Breland is not the guy. Javen Sugar Hill is not the guy. Ronnie Shields is not the guy. Derek James is not the guy. So, hell, you ought to watch it. Dave Allen versus Wilder? Yeah, Wilder would knock out Dave Allen. Unless Dave can get close enough to him and land something hard. And then we'll see where Wilder's at. Tony Lyons, Wilder is fighting tomorrow at 7 p.m. I will be live for it, don't worry. I always thought Senior Kawasaki was a good trainer. So, yeah, but Wilder, he split up with Malik Scott. So, we'll see how he performs without Malik Scott. And if he does well, we know people are going to shit on Malik and praise the fact that he's not there and his absence is well needed and all that stuff. So stay tuned for that. Just my counterpunch prediction. But love you guys. Be blessed. I will see you later today for the weigh-in if I can find it. But I'll definitely be live tomorrow for the main event between Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, and Tyrell Herndon in Wichita, Kansas. You guys subscribe, like, and share, and everyone has been counterpunched. Peace.